Good afternoon, committee. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to speak today. I have a problem with some issues with the BRT. I've spoke about this before, especially the terminal on First Avenue where 3 BRT lanes will converge. But now there are issues with the BRT terminal, the first terminal that'll be between the red and the green lines on College Drive. So consultants, when they work on projects from a very high level, things look good. They don't have to be that precise. They get general ideas up, and they may look pretty good from 30,000 feet. So they spend their days at that altitude looking down and thinking things have to fit and a general format, but they don't get into the granular detail. The problem is that they haven't been doing the granular detail the way they should. So this first terminal that'll arrive between the green and the red BRT lines is a big concern to me now, the way that it was set up. And one thing that we need to do is to make sure we're moving people safely and with high capacity, because that is the goal of the whole system, is it not? So if we have to converge vehicles and people together in a maelstrom of operations, that's a problem. People are going to get hurt, traffic's going to slow down, timelines for buses are not going to get met. So if the best situation is that we separate vehicular traffic from people that are on the bus system. At this intersection at Campus Drive, College Drive, and the Fieldhouse Road, where it's omnidirectional really, we've got traffic coming or going from many different directions and people crossing streets in many directions. And then we have the BRT system through the middle of this in a non-standard format. All things that people driving cars and people walking are not used to always seeing. And we're talking great distances too. So if you look at the 2 BRT platforms, if you look at the lanes swinging off the Fieldhouse Road onto College Drive or Campus Drive swinging onto College Drive, it's extensive, the amount of swing that has to happen. It's about 6.5 lanes that you have to drive straight ahead before you turn left or turn into your driving lane, which is not standard. And if you were to have people crossing the street in the middle of that, it's going to be further a problem for people. And remember that this is by the field house, and this is by the football stadium, and this is by College of Kinesiology, all of these things converging here. So we're expecting a huge amount of traffic at times. And then you forget that all the people that take the BRT from the red to the green line or back and forth through the day will have to use this as their final point to switch. You're not going to go way downtown to take a transfer to come all the way back. So you need the first terminal to facilitate your ability to switch between the red and green lines efficiently and safely. And that hasn't been done here. So instead what's happened is that we have to have people cross one street, another street, and a third street just to switch between platforms in the middle of traffic. I propose that we at least should have a scramble corner to go diagonal, but then I looked at it, I'm going, well, 400 feet away roughly, there's already an intersection been created. And then we would get unidirectional traffic flows, which means the vehicles, the cars going by that direction would only be going straight. They wouldn't be attempting curves, coming out of curves, nothing. The cars would only going one direction and people would be crossing the street only in one direction. So it would simplify things for safety. And so what does that look like? Well, you could go diagonal between the platforms, basically across this little walkway. So you don't have to cross vehicular traffic. You cross only BRT lanes just to get between the platforms, which is a big benefit. But then let's go further. What happens if you're trying to go to university? Well, you're crossing a place where vehicles are only going straight. And so that's your safest environment for you to be able to cross the street. So if traffic are stopped at those intersections and you're crossing the street, it's way better than merging lanes and all of these other things. So this should have been done already. There is no reason that this plan is this far along, that this simple thing hasn't been seen and dealt with. And I'm very frustrated as a draftsman and as a planner that I keep finding serious issues with the BRT plans that keep getting kicked out year after year that haven't had better oversight. I wonder why we're paying so much money to consultants that aren't doing their job. And I also wonder who in the city is supposed to oversee this that aren't doing their job, in my feeling.